Welcome to Infinity and Beyond, a podcast that takes a look back at the works of Pixar animation before moving onward to their newest films. Today we celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Join us in remembering one heck of a movie. I wanted to do the intro in Spanish, and I'm bad at that, so I didn't.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
Wait, Jarron, you gotta say your line.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
Say the line, Jarron.
I didn't do it. Who the gosh darn heck are we?
There it is. I'm Nora.
I'm Daniel.
Hola, me llamo Jarron.
That was good.
Hola, me llamo Olivia.
Well, now I want to do it in Spanish. Hola, soy Dora. Kidding, I'm Nora.
All right. Well.
Shoot, I just forgot that we're recording, and now there's gonna be me doing a really bad Dora impression. I'm really tired. Sometimes I forget we're recording, and then I immediately regret the things I do.
Let's go.
All right. Well, today we are talking about Coco, which is, as of this moment, the last original film Pixar has made. At least the last one they've released.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change in a month.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for it.
Wait,
we are really close to Onward.
what about Toy Story 4 and Incredibles 2? They made those.
I specified original.
Oh, Daniel, I'm tired.
We'll just have to repeat everything so
I'm so
Nora
sorry.
gets it.
Okay, I just want to say something about Coco. My older brother hates musicals, but when Coco came out, he downloaded the whole soundtrack.
Oh, dang.
So if that doesn't say something, I don't know what does.
Says Coco's either a really good musical or a really bad musical.
Yeah. I liked the music. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, I love musicals, and I was so happy Pixar finally had themselves a little musical. And don't get me wrong, I love the soundtracks and stuff, but I was so happy.
It was really nice. They did a good job.
It was
Coco,
good.
Music and stuff.
Coco really did feel like an It's About Time movie for them. Just, you're part of Disney and your animation, and you didn't do a musical for the first 20 years of your existence.
Yeah,
really?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I thought it was really pretty good timing though.
It came out at a good time for sure. All right, so.
I'm still a little bit sick, so.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
You want somebody else to do the recap, Jarron?
Oh, yeah.
Not me.
Jarron, you have to do this recap. I did Cars for you.
Right. Okay, so.
We lost him.
We might have.
Oh, I thought
I made him do it and he fell over.
we lost the brother.
R.I.P. Jarron?
Jarron, I think your Wi-Fi is wonky.
Jarron? We didn't even have to mute him this time. Oh no.
Well.
Oh, should I do it while he gets his Wi-Fi back?
Oh, he left. There he goes.
Yeah, he just bounced out.
Hey, I could hear you the whole time.
Oh, okay.
I could hear you the whole time. I don't know why you couldn't hear me.
It was like we muted him again.
Yeah, you know what that happened last time Olivia guested.
I didn't do it this time. I think his Wi-Fi was wonky because it kept like breaking up.
Olivia,
Yeah.
I'm suspicious of you.
I didn't do it. Look, I didn't touch it. I didn't do it. I know better now.
Okay. Well, after the suspicious potential sabotage of Jarron found,
Listen, I get everyone hates me. I get friends, but it's okay.
We love you, Jarron.
Do that.
It's all good.
Now tell us about that movie.
Okay. Mexico. There lived a boy named Miguel who worked with his family in their business in
What?
village
I
in
think he's
Mexico.
still breaking up.
Yeah, he's still breaking up.
Oh,
Jarron.
It's weird. Maybe you're just at a bad spot in your house.
maybe, I don't know.
I mean, we can hear you. It's just breaking up. What a beautiful podcast we have.
Sorry.
It's not your fault, Jarron. It's technology's fault. Like Mama Imelda said, the devil box is nothing but lies.
That was beautiful.
I'm sorry. Hello?
Hello.
We still got you.
You're on that.
You good?
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't know what the problem is.
Third time's the charm, baby. Let's go. You got this.
Anyway,
It sounds better
Anyway.
now.
all right, good. Anyway, in Mexico, there's a boy named Miguel, and his family makes shoes. And thus, they have banned music
As
in
you
their
do.
family because his great-great-grandmother, Mama Imelda, was married to a man, a musician, who left Imelda and their daughter, Coco.
I do not know how you remembered her name.
Me either.
I've seen this movie several times by now.
Yeah, and I've seen like
Ew.
every Pixar movie several times, and I couldn't tell you the main character of like most of them.
Well, that's because you're you.
Yeah.
Anyway, they banned music in the family because there was a musician who was married to Imelda who abandoned her and their daughter Coco. Seemingly abandoned. However, Miguel secretly lives a life of enjoying music. And for whatever reason, I'm hearing an echo of myself in the background.
Yeah. I was
Maybe your
wondering if
headphones
that
came
was just
unplugged?
me.
No, they're Wi-Fi. They're Bluetooth. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. Anyway, Miguel secretly enjoys music on his own, idolizing the great Ernesto de la Cruz, who's a famous musician in the area of Santa Cecilia. And then, when it comes to be Dia de los Muertos, on the ofrenda, where they post the pictures of dead relatives, he notices there's a hidden there's a bit of the photo removed and matches it up to De La Cruz's guitar, and he believes Ernesto De La Cruz was his great-great-grandfather. He finds himself in the land of the dead after trying to steal De La Cruz's guitar from his tomb burial
Yeah, like
Yeah.
thing.
Monument, whatever.
monument, whatever. His guitar is there on display as a museum
Crypt?
piece, and he tries to steal it. Crypt, maybe, I don't know.
No, I guess Crypt's like multiple people.
A mausoleum, I suppose.
I'm gonna look this up. Keep going.
Anyway, he finds himself in the land of the dead, and he discovers his dead relatives, his uncles and aunts, and his great-great-grandmother, Mama Imelda, who was married to the musician, who might have been De La Cruz. They have to return Miguel home before he turns into a skeleton, despite him not being dead like all of them. But he is so insistent, on finding De La Cruz and proving that's his great-great-grandfather, so he can prove to his family that he is a musician. On the way, he encounters Hector, who is a skeleton-y trickster man who is in disguise as Frida Kahlo and several other people. He's a trickster. He's a con man. But nobody in his family remembers him on their ofrenda, on Dia de los Muertos. and thus he is on the verge of being forgotten, dying the second death. So he makes a deal with Miguel so that they can try to find his family so that he can be remembered. They enter a talent contest to meet De La Cruz, and they win. And thus they arrive...
No, they don't win.
Oh, yeah, they don't win, yeah. But they become popular enough.
They sneak in with the winners.
Yeah, they stow away.
Because the winners think that they're good.
Yeah. Miguel finds his way to De La Cruz's big mansion party place where he's having a big party, and introduces himself as his great-great-grandson, and he's enjoying every minute of it. He's living it up with his great-great-grandfather.
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum. Thank you, Randall.
One mystery solved.
All right, continue.
Sorry.
Anyway, he's enjoying his new life with his great-great-grandfather, his new afterlife with his great-great-grandfather. However, something isn't quite right.
He asks him to send him home, and then...
Yeah, which only a family member can do. But as it turns out, De La Cruz is not Miguel's great-grandfather. It's, in fact, Hector.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, there's your twist villain. That was his mistake. And thus, we go back to a flashback of... I'm sorry, I'm not super with it, and I am still feeling sick. Anyway, there's a flashback with De La Cruz and Hector. And De La Cruz betrays him because Hector wants to return home to Imelda and Coco. But De La Cruz poisons his drink and murders him.
Wonderful.
Straight up.
Yeah, we see straight up death. Human death in this movie.
We see a murder in this movie.
Yeah.
Because everybody jokes that he chokes on,
Chorizo.
Yeah.
Chorizo!
No,
Chorizo tacos are delicious, by the way. But that aside, as it turns out, yes, De La Cruz is the villain, the murderer. And so it's up to Miguel and Hector and the rest of his family to stop De La Cruz, reveal him for the murderous fraud he is, and return back to the land of the living so that Hector can be remembered by his daughter Coco, who is a 90-something-year-old woman on the verge of senility.
Remember me, so I got something.
Bye, remember
me.
You guys are doing a great job of remembering the song.
I will sing that song later. Okay. So anyway, that's Coco.
You left out that they have the big fight scene.
I didn't want to do that in the synopsis.
He's trying to keep it short and sweet.
Because he doesn't know when his Wi-Fi is going to give out.
What I'm going
Well,
to
that
forgotten.
was beautiful. Let me applaud you.
Woo!
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
I went Coco for that.
All right.
I went Coco Loco for that.
Okay, so I had only seen Coco one time before I watched it again to review it, and I loved it equally both times, but somehow I managed to forget that Coco was the name of his grandmother, and I couldn't remember why it was called Coco. So I also, even though I just watched it, forgot his name was Miguel too. So.
Well, you know, that's your thing. You forget names.
Miguel.
I do. I've really gotten progressively close with the name remembering.
Nora, I honestly wonder how many final deaths you're going to cause.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Sorry to put that thought in your head.
Wait, what do you mean final death? Oh no. I just got it.
Wait, I don't get it.
The final death.
The final
It's in the
death is
movie.
how you get forgotten in the afterlife.
I'm gonna kill so many people. I'm gonna double kill so many people.
Yeah.
Wait, does that make me a murderer?
No.
Oh.
Involuntary manslaughter?
No. They're already dead.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, they're already
listen,
dead.
I'm good with faces, though. Just your name? I could know you for 6 years and not know your name. Like, I'm not.
I'm really good with faces too.
Like, Daniel, I was scared to call you Daniel the first 2 podcasts because I was scared it was David. I'm not gonna...
Oh gosh, not David.
Y'all
The
wanna hear
Daniels
something
have
really
been called
funny?
Davids for so long. It's not
I'm so
even funny.
sorry. It's time
I
I
think-
confess it, though.
I went to a group meeting at the college, and there was this guy I knew from high school, and he was sitting there, and I found out later that he messaged the group chat and was like, "Who is this ginger with freckles?"
Oh.
I was like, "I went to high school with you."
Wait, he legit said ginger with freckles?
That's exactly what they said. I will send you the screenshot.
I would have said, are you referring to Little Orphan Annie?
I was like, "Are
That's
you
like saying, who's the blonde with yellow hair? Like, really?
Thank you. Thank you for the description there, sir.
Well, anyway.
Oh, it's 11:11. Make a wish, everyone.
I made a wish.
I made a
I
wish.
made a wish."
Don't say it or it won't come true.
Don't say your mom or it won't come true.
Oh, dang. Walked right into that one.
Yep, it made perfect sense. Your mom walked right into that one.
Nora,
I'm
behave.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, back to Coco. So this is a really good movie, guys.
It
It
really
really
is.
is.
Oh
It
my
is one of my
gosh.
favorites.
The music is great. I love every single song. I love the soundtrack. I love their musical numbers. It's entertaining. I am a theater kid, and I approved. I gave it the musical theater seal of Yas, Queen.
They did a really good job with the bops, and it really shows.
I'm proud of you for using the word bops.
I think my favorite has to be Un Poco Loco. I just
I
love
love
Yeah.
songs
It's
more
catchy.
than anything else.
Oh,
Loco.
I like La Llorona.
Oh, that one's good too.
Really
I mean,
good.
is that the one that his great-great-grandma sings?
Yes.
I was going to say I like that one,
Yeah,
too.
there are no weak songs in this film. I would
No.
say maybe the last one they play over the final montage isn't as memorable, but that's mostly because you're paying more attention to the visuals than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
not bad in the slightest.
I don't remember it.
My personal favorite is Remember Me because it's
Well, I mean, it's used brilliantly in the film. I can't fault you for loving it.
Okay. Coco was so brilliantly mapped out because sometimes you'll get with Pixar films, even we'll point out little errors that plot holes or something of that sort, but I can't find any. Everything connected very well. I didn't see any pointless scenes. Even when they didn't win the talent contest, they still got in with the guys that win, that allowed them to get in the building. Because I was watching that, I was thinking, oh, that scene was pointless, but it wasn't, because it had a point later on.
I mean, it had a point in the moment too. It was
I mean, it
McKee's
did,
first
but I
time
didn't
performing.
understand the point in the moment, other than he was breaking a stage fright.
It's very tightly written.
And you know about a million other things, like
Yes.
getting caught by his other side of the family.
Yeah.
And Hector loosening up
Yes,
a little
but
bit
I
for
meant, like,
music and
something that truly moves the plot to getting to Ernesto de la Cruz's place. Because I thought the moment was
and that
wasted.
scene does that too.
Yes, I
So
mean,
Yeah,
it
but
feels
but the
this
movie
is two
is
things.
mostly about like families, so he kind of his family needed to be in that scene
Yeah.
for him to get caught.
It feels so genuinely good and refreshing to like love a Pixar movie again.
Yeah, it's not like we haven't had that in the past couple.
I was entertained.
This is solid top 5 for me.
It's a really good movie.
Where did I put mine? Let me look where I put Coco Loco.
We don't have to worry about lists just yet. Toy Story 4 is right around the corner, guys.
It is in my top 5. Sorry, had to look. Also, I wasn't expecting the ending the first time I saw it.
Oh, I mean, nobody was.
No. And, Pixar, it's kids. Sometimes you get an ending you don't expect. Sometimes you can kind of figure it out if you put the pieces together. But no, this one I really didn't. It was very well done.
Yeah, we'll talk about the ending because
I kind of guessed it.
I'm so sorry, Olivia, that you're smarter than all of us.
Good for you. We'll talk about the ending in a moment because I probably have the most to say about that emotional peak the movie hits.
Oh my god. When I first watched it, I was like bawling.
Oh gosh, I struggled to hold all the tears.
I was like, wait. I was like, this isn't supposed to be sad.
No, I didn't cry, but I enjoyed it. I mean, not like yay death, but
No.
I felt the emotion.
I think
the sad part wasn't that like she was dying. The sad part was that she was like forgetting everything she ever knew.
Again, I'll get to. There's so many things about that scene I want to talk about, but I want to save it for a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do want to lay out up front. This is Lee Unkrich's first original film at Pixar. He's the writer and director of this one, and he also did Toy Story 2 and 3.
He did good.
Yep, and it's also.
Cat.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's trying to get lovin'.
And it's also the last film he's making he made for Pixar. He's not making any more.
He resigned.
Why?
He left the studio so he could spend time with his family.
Aww,
and you know what?
That's the way to go out.
I can understand making a movie like Coco would make you reevaluate your life choices and go, family is more important.
Bruh,
Yeah.
he probably was struggling. He was like, oh my god.
Practice what you preach.
He will be sorely missed, probably more than any other individual who's left Pixar just in this era.
Yeah.
I feel like Brad Bird, I miss him doing original films at Pixar, but he had a career before the studio and he has a career after it.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Stanton, he was one of the founding core people, but
I don't know. I would say I love Brad Bird though, because his movies are.
I mean, I love Brad Bird too, but
I know, but
Pixar could survive without him because Pixar, in the beginning, was without Brad Bird.
Yeah.
He was a freelancer, basically.
True.
And with Andrew Stanton, bit different. He was very important, especially for a lot of their early films, but I feel like they just kind of grew apart. Lee Unkrich he felt so critical. He was the editor all the way back on the first Toy Story. And he has had a hand in pretty much every film they've ever done. So it's going to be weird. And I mean, because of the way animation takes forever to develop, he's he's got like a finger on Onward and Soul and whatever comes next. Like it'll be a few years before we officially say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
But man, after this one, I do want another originally Unkrich Pixar film.
Maybe
Same here.
he'll come back.
Maybe, maybe not. I really don't know. I don't see him ever doing like live action the way Andrew Stanton and Brad Bird have moved to.
I can't stand live action.
Oh, yeah. I tried watching the Aladdin remake last week, and nope.
Big
Come
no.
on, it's not as bad as y'all are saying it is.
Olivia,
I couldn't
right.
get
It's
through 20
worse.
minutes of it.
Olivia, I've never even seen it, and I watched like 2 clips of it. I couldn't get all the way through the clips.
It's really not bad.
It was
Y'all are making it
awful.
sound like it's the worst thing ever. There are
was
Yeah,
Oh, no,
way
listen,
that's the
it
Lion
was worse,
King
but it doesn't mean it's
2019.
not terrible.
Bad. No, it was bad.
Well, you know what? Enough talking about bad movies.
Let's go back to good, because I
Yeah.
like this one.
Can we talk about the voice acting?
Yes,
Oh
go
my god,
ahead.
can we
Oh
talk
my
about
gosh,
how
yes.
Benjamin from Law and Order got to do it?
Who?
I love him. Shut up. Don't you ever say that. Don't you ever say who.
I don't know who it is.
He's from he's from Law and Order.
I've never seen that.
I think his last name's like
You've never
Matt or
seen
something.
Law and Order?
He's trash. Trash.
We just established Jarron doesn't like live action, and now you guys are mad he hasn't seen one of the longest running live action shows.
Oh, when you say live action,
Trash.
I thought you meant like a live action remake of a cartoon. Like
The
live
reason they're
action.
called live action remakes is because they're remakes that are live action.
In debatable
Oh.
live action.
Wait, so like all movies with people are called live action?
Yes.
That's the technical term.
Okay. Benjamin
Whoa,
is his
did not
name.
know that.
Oh.
Wow.
Benjamin
Anyway.
Pratt was a detective on Law and Order, and you should watch it because he's really good in it.
And he got to play a good guy there, as opposed to Ernesto de la Cruz.
Yeah, he's a good guy in Law and Order.
I love Anthony Gonzalez. I think it's Anthony Gonzalez. I'm looking up the cast list right now. He voices
Oh,
Miguel.
yeah.
His
The voice of
is
Miguel.
gorgeous.
Oh, he's
Fantastic.
perfect.
Gorgeous.
They actually got a kid to voice him.
Yeah, and like his voice like believably cracks at certain points. Like
Mhm.
When he
the
does the
pitch shifts
Gito.
feel very like in tune to what the emotions the character is supposed to be feeling. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
It's some of the best I think I've seen Pixar do. His specifically, and they've had some real good voice acting.
Yeah.
But
I think Linguini still tops it for me.
he's
but-
not my favorite, but I was impressed.
But the work with Miguel is just so good.
Everyone, once again, in a Pixar movie was great.
And you know, in a movie that values songs so heavily, it's real good that you got some good voice actors for it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Ernesto de la Cruz, voice of a god.
Yeah.
And y'all know that he had never sang before.
Benjamin Bratt, he sounds so professionally trained.
Yeah, he had never sang or anything before, and he auditioned for the role, and they gave it to him.
It was like, we'll give you singing lessons.
It'll be fine.
You know, Anthony Gonzalez kind of looks like Miguel, like
Yeah, he
his
does.
nose. His nose.
I wouldn't
is
be
the same.
surprised if they used him as their references for design.
Yeah, some
They tend to do that sometimes.
they do that a lot of the time.
Yeah, but I'm looking
Yeah,
at.
Arlo
right
looks
now.
a lot like his voice actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You made me remember that movie.
And
I guess it really didn't make its mark.
Lightning McQueen looks so much like Owen Wilson. It's uncanny.
Listen, his voice comes through so much that anything could look like Owen Wilson. Like if you just hear Owen Wilson, all I see is Owen Wilson. So he does look just like Owen Wilson to me.
Well, that's hilarious. Now that I know that about you. Anyway. Yeah, really, really good voice acting in this one. The animation was also just
Oh,
Yeah,
My next
solid.
thing,
good.
what they did with the skeletons was brilliant. I love how they made their bodies move and like come apart and
think
together.
Especially
this
for
is some of the
Hector.
this has some of the best physical humor in like Pixar's canon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I think that's kind of indisputable. Just the skeleton gags and Dante, especially Dante.
Oh
with
my
the
god,
tongue.
I love Dante.
He reminds me of my dog, honestly.
Your dog has a tongue that can wrap around his head twice.
Not quite, but you know.
I enjoyed that moment when he's first going into what's it? Is it called the afterlife? What is it called?
The Land of the Dead.
The Land of the Dead. Sorry, I blanked. But when he's first coming to the Land of the Dead and he's getting scared by the skeletons that are his family, but his mind like flips back to the portraits of his family and it compares them face to
Yeah.
face. I like that. I thought that was very clever.
Oh yeah, like even though they're all skeletons, like they still have such a distinct character design to
Yes.
them, which is really good.
I thought it was very clever.
And just the Land of the Dead in general, how many light sources it has, like the fact that they were able to render that. Oh my gosh.
My only thing that bothers me though is that they're skeletons, yet they all have full heads of
Skeletons?
hair.
Skeletons?
I said skeletons.
You said skeletons.
They're skeletons. They have.
Nora, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I heard skeletons too.
Oh, sorry.
So did I, but you know.
Bags of skin.
Okay, listen.
It's the opposite.
This
of
movie would be
skeletons.
horrifying if that were the case.
Once again, I am tired. Skeletons, but like they have like full heads of hair, and Hector like removes his like a toupee.
It's a wig.
Yeah, but
That's a toupee.
does that mean they're all wearing wigs, or is that just Hector?
I don't know. He's a
think-
shifty trickster.
Because Hector's wig is how his hair was in real life. So that was my only question.
You know what? I feel like they are wearing wigs.
That was my
I
only.
can believe that there's a market in the Land of the Dead just for people who want the cosmetic appeal of hair again.
Yeah, like they're
I
all
know
there, yeah.
Definitely, because like if Ernesto can throw these like huge parties that makes people feel alive again, why not have like
I would like to feel
stores
alive
that
again.
can make people feel alive again?
Yeah. I really think that might have been one of my only problems with this movie, because I kind of just sat there and I was like, wait.
The hair just kind of broke your brain.
It did.
I just really like this movie.
I'm glad, Jarron. I really am. Remember me.
Though I have to say goodbye.
Actually, when he first was listening to Remember Me, I didn't like the way that Ernesto's version was, but at the very end, when they were singing it, to like the grandma and stuff, I liked that version better. Or like
Well,
when
that's
it flashed back and he was singing it to Coco as like a little girl.
Well, that's the point, because the song was written as a lullaby for a father to his little daughter, but De La Cruz stole it and made it his own grandiose, over the top, changing the original meaning of it.
Yeah. And the movie kind of works its way backwards back to that. Because, like, Remember Me, like, changes meaning each time you hear it in the film.
Yeah.
It goes from Ernesto's ballad about himself to this just, like, overpopular you shouldn't even care about it because it's just so popular type of song to something like genuinely meaningful in the past to what it is in the emotional climax of the film, which I still want to save for later if we can.
All right.
Yes. On a different topic, would y'all like to know my official favorite song for this movie?
Sure, why not?
Are you going to remember it
Everyone
saying?
knows Juanita.
Oh, the one
Oh.
that Hector has to censor.
And if
And
I
maybe if I
weren't so
was so
ugly,
you might give me a chance. Oh, man. Actually,
Yeah.
that scene,
That's a
I
good
am
scene.
kind of glad you brought it up. I have a small problem with it.
No,
Not
I
a.
love that scene.
I think that
Yeah.
like we're introduced to this character and they die and you don't really get like any emotional
Oh, Chicharron.
you don't get much emotional reaction from his death, but
I
you
still
can't play
cried.
that. You cried at that.
I did.
Wow.
I thought that was very sad. I didn't cry, but I thought it was very sad.
It's just
Okay, I'll tell you why it brought out an emotional connection in me. Is because it's very quick, but you see their friendship and their dynamics, and then you realize that there is another death after death.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
yeah,
he says he can have his guitar, which is kind of like his final sacrifice. So it just makes it really sad.
I get where you're
You can
coming
tell,
from.
like,
I understand they're not going to be able to play that scene as anything other than, sad and somber and quiet. It's just a case of
You wanted
we've
more
gone
for
from
that character.
Hector's wacky hijinks like right into this moment, and like it's exposition in a way to like because this movie is absurdly complicated with how many rules it has, but it does a
It
really
really
good job of
is.
explaining them.
How does he even manage to do that? I think it's amazing.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah, that's another really good thing about this movie.
I think that scene's meant to be kind of sporadic and quick just because it's one of those things that you can get emotion from it because it happens so fast that you have to go, wait, what? One of those scenes instead of drawing it out or maybe having a connection to the character. Because I feel
Well,
like
I think that would have been a bad choice. It's just a case of I get the sense that it's there only because we need this. We need the plot point of getting the guitar. Could have done that anyway, but you also need the more important thing is explaining how the final death works for the climax.
Yes.
And like to do that, you pretty much have to show somebody going through their final death, but it can't be a character we know. It's just got to be this random guy in a hammock.
I don't think I would have wanted to know him more in the movie because I feel like that would have been them try. I would have felt like it was being a try hard thing to make you. Do you get what I'm saying? Because sometimes Pixar will.
I mean, that's how I feel about this scene, Nora.
I'm sorry. I'm sticking up for my beliefs. But your opinion is valid.
Whoa.
Oh, dang. Is this character development, Nora?
No, I'm willing to listen to other people's opinions, but I'm also willing to call them out if they're trash.
Okay. All right, well.
Trash.
Uh,
Trash.
Trash boat. Trash boat.
I
I'll
started
tell you what wasn't
bad.
trash. Frida.
The dinosaur.
What? No, Good Dinosaur's a trash baby. Come on.
I'm so sorry.
I'm talking about Frida, the best
Frida
performer in
Kahlo?
the afterlife.
Frida Kahlo.
She's not trash. We love Frida.
I'm
That's what Daniel
I'm
said.
saying she's not trash.
Oh, I thought you said, you know what else is trash? Frida Kahlo. And I was like, no.
You know what? You know what I found pretty interesting is that even in the afterlife there was class separation.
Oof.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's just
It was between who was remembered most and who nobody remembered. And I was like, even in death, no one is equal.
Also, they have jobs. The policeman said my
Yeah.
shift is almost over.
I know.
well, I mean,
that
there's
was,
got to
like,
be
one of my
some
other flaws.
organization.
I was thinking, but who's employing them? What are they
I
getting
know.
paid with? They don't eat. Like, who's hiring and what is this money used for in the afterlife?
Imagine dying and being like, "Yay, I don't have to work anymore," and they're like, "Hello, sir. You've been drafted to work in the afterlife."
If they don't eat,
Just
because they don't use
welcome
the
to your
bathroom.
afterlife. You're a part of the undead TSA now.
Thing is, we don't even know how the afterlife actually works in our
Wait,
real
wait.
universe. So
This movie does kind of rely on just kind of like taking the real world and making it death. And
Yeah, I wish it would have
it's
been
short.
like a completely different world.
That would have been cool.
But that also would have taken a lot of time to explain, and this movie is already juggling its exposition as is.
Yeah, I know, but it just would have been a nice touch. I would have watched a 4-hour movie.
We can make a whole different movie.
Pixar
I
would
think
never make a movie over 2 hours.
Daniel and I discussed this a long time ago. Not necessarily a sequel, but like a spin-off would be neat.
That's true.
Of Coco?
Wait, I
Yeah.
thought of a question.
They should just do a like they do with like Frozen and Big Hero 6 and stuff, and just make like a short to go with it.
Yeah.
That short was 30 minutes long.
Oh yeah, that
Oh no, I
controversy.
forgot about that.
That was
The
not
short
a short.
they removed from cinemas.
It was not a short. That was a full
Yeah.
televised program.
Apparently, like Disney was worried nobody would want to see it because Mexican. Which, way to go, Disney! Very racism.
What?
Yeah,
We
so
love
they
racism.
shoved a 22-minute Frozen special in front of this movie in order to
Oh no,
encourage
no, no, no!
kids
The
to
Frozen
come see it.
special was going to be a TV event on ABC.
Oh, see,
And they shoved it in front of this movie instead.
I didn't go see Coco in theaters, so
Neither did I, but I heard about it.
I didn't hear
I
about
heard about it.
or see it.
I saw it at the Dollar Theater because by then they had removed the Frozen thing, and I was like, okay, it's safe to go now.
Oh, what the heck? That's crazy.
Yeah,
It was a big controversy.
it was beyond ridiculous and very stupid.
That doesn't make any sense.
Racism rarely ever does.
Indeed.
I guess Disney was like, oh, Frozen is our most popular princess movie right now. So if there's Frozen at the beginning, more kids will come see it.
Well, it's not even Pixar. It's just Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that some parents like walked out of the theater because they thought that they had like stumbled into a Frozen sequel they hadn't
that's
heard
what
about.
I heard too.
Oh my god.
So
That's
maybe this
awful.
plan backfired.
It doesn't get much wider than
It
Frozen.
did. Like, it was awful. Like, people complained so much. They said that they were in that. Like, kids can't sit through that long.
No.
With a 22-minute short in front, commercials on top of that, and then the 2-hour movie. That was like 3 hours.
100-minute, come on.
Oh man, speaking of short confusion, we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week.
Oh, did y'all see that Hair Love short won at the Oscars?
Oh yes, I did.
One, yeah.
That deserved it. That was really good.
I haven't seen it. I've just seen that thing on TikTok where she removes her hat and she's like bald.
It's written what?
Are we
That's
talking
just
about the
a
same
meme.
thing?
TikTok is trash. We don't
Olivia, Hair Love is on YouTube. It's adorable. Definitely go see it.
Wait, what?
Is
What'd you
that
say?
not the real thing where she's like bald?
No, that's just a meme.
Someone told me that was the real thing.
No, Nora.
If someone told you that,
Nora, go on YouTube and just look up hair love.
Right. Okay, well, I was concerned because I was like, okay, I get the bald, but they didn't make her all the way bald. They just did, like, the top, and then she had sideburns, and I was like,
It should be a little girl and her dad, and then just watch it.
and I was like, I mean, we stand, but out of context, I'm a little confused.
I do wish this movie could have gotten a classic Pixar short in front of it, though.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Their
Well,
shorts
they
are
have the
always so
20
good.
Even the
Disney
Good
short.
Dinosaur got a short.
Hey, what movie had the bowel short?
That was
Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2.
That's why I said next week we're gonna have a lot
Really?
to talk about.
That's
Because
that was a good short.
it was great, but people,
I went
for
to
whatever
go see-
reason,
I went to go see that movie with my mom, and she was so confused, and I had to like sit there and explain the short to her.
Oh. Oh, wait, I had a question.
Yeah?
Okay, so when Miguel escapes from his family the first time, they say, should we not tell him that there's no bathroom? So which means they can't digest things, they can't use a bathroom. So why is there food? I know Dia de los Muertos, you leave food out for your loved ones in honor of them or so they can come back and celebrate it, but then there should be a bathroom. And I'm having a logic problem.
Maybe they can.
It's this movie using shorthand again to really just kind of fill in the blanks of this world so nobody asks questions during the runtime.
Okay,
and
I have
to avoid
do
citizens
stuff like-
types.
maybe okay. So you know how when they like take the food and stuff, it's like see through, and then when they go back to the afterlife, the land of the dead, it turns like almost solid looking.
Yes.
It's just like the spirit of the food.
Yeah.
So they're not really eating food. They're just like, it's just kind of like the taste of their old life. That's the most sense it makes.
I'm gonna go with that one. That was a good answer. I applaud you.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Let me applaud you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was good.
You got the whole squad clapping.
I got the whole squad out here.
All right, so I guess we should talk about our big bad.
Oh, Ernesto de la Cruz.
De la Cruz.
Yes, twist surprise, it was Cruz all along.
Oh dear, no.
Cruz Ramirez from Cars 3 died and became a human skeleton in the afterlife.
Okay, all right. Where does this
That's how
movie
this fits into the Pixar theory.
Wait, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's not really it, is it?
No, Nora. They're just being silly.
Are they?
Yes, they're being silly.
Well, have you heard some of the Pixar theory things?
Unfortunately.
Yes, I have.
I can't.
Okay, so you know how I said I saw Hector, being Miguel's great grandfather.
Yeah.
But I didn't see Ernesto actually being the bad guy.
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like
I didn't see that coming. I figured when he ran into Hector, he was the guy, but I didn't see Ernesto being like a bad guy and killing him.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna pick up on anything, the Hector plotline is the most available to. You probably wouldn't guess that Ernesto murdered him, but or right off.
I don't guess that he murdered him right off the bat, but
as you kept going, yeah.
There's a thing in kids' films where you just kind of expect there to be a villain, and when you've gotten so far into a movie and there hasn't been a villain reveal yet, you kind of start leaning towards, this guy's probably a villain. It makes the most sense because all films have that twist in the third act where it's revealed that the thing your main character wanted all along isn't the thing they needed. And for Miguel, wanting to be related to Cruz was the thing he wanted most, so the main way to completely crush his spirit would be to make Ernesto a villain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, okay, I was
Never meet your
suspicious
heroes.
of there being a villain, but I didn't think it would be Ernesto. I didn't know who it would have been, but
I
you
wasn't
think it'd
really
be Imelda?
hardcore thinking it. I wasn't really hardcore thinking it while watching the movie. I was analyzing the animation, some detail stuff, the voice acting. Those are the two things I always go to, and just letting the story flow as I go. And then I think about it afterwards. Well, that's not always true. It depends. But that's what I did for this one. Hello,
Still
hello.
here.
friends?
We didn't mute you.
So I was like, oh no.
So I feel like the whole reveal thing and the twist, it's good. I think it just comes at the wrong time in this point in animation history where
We've had a lot.
where twist villains are the norm.
I do love a good twist villain, though.
Oh, we've got one next time too.
When they're executed well,
I mean,
that's nice.
there are just so many nowadays that I find bland two-dimensional bad guys to be far more fun now.
Yeah.
Like,
They
oh,
just
thank
love
goodness,
being
something new.
Okay, well, I watched Ralph Breaks the Internet the other day because I stayed home from work, so I was sick. I had nothing
That
else to
movie
do.
was a disappointment.
It was pretty okay.
It wasn't
But
bad. It was just
I was thoroughly refreshed that the character I thought was going to be the twist villain was not a twist villain. There wasn't even really a villain at all.
Ralph was the villain.
Though I feel like making the YouTube stand-in algorithm the villain would have won over a lot of internet people.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know,
It wasn't a
props to
bad
them not.
movie.
I have not
It's no
seen it.
Coco.
It's just not as good as the first. But the
I'm,
first is
like,
amazing, so.
Y'all are scaring me. I don't know if I want to watch it.
It's not bad. It's
I mean,
just,
if you enjoyed the first one, then this is a fine continuation. I don't think it's
Yeah.
anything you should be rushing to see,
it
though.
didn't really need to happen, as most sequels don't need to happen. But
I see.
I
And
will
for
say,
some
I
reason-
think my favorite twist villains are Ernesto de la Cruz, Hans, and Wreck-It Ralph. Oh, what's his name?
Turbo.
Turbo.
Oh my god, I hate Turbo.
No, but I love how they do it. Like, I love how they execute it. It's very nice.
It was cool, yeah. You were singing the praises of Lotso Huggin' Bear, little lady, a few weeks ago.
I love Lotso Hugging Bear. I don't think he's a villain.
I hate Lotso.
We've had that conversation.
I do not like him.
He left the
Oh,
homies
Olivia,
to
thank
burn
you.
up and die.
Now it can be 3
Ah.
versus 1.
He's terrible.
Oh man, I can't.
He just, the way he handles, like, abandonment, he needs therapy.
I think.
I just want to hug him. He just needs a happier ending.
Okay,
what
look,
becomes Toy Story
you
3
know
Part
what?
2?
You know what? Jessie went through abandonment, and she turned out just fine.
Yep.
Yeah. a
What
little
is
trauma,
Lotso's excuse?
little PTSD was good for Jessie.
Different circumstances, different people.
Threw him out the window.
We are seriously talking too much about Toy Story 3. We've
Hey,
had
that's
this
also a Lee
episode.
Unkrich movie.
That is fair.
I'm sorry, Daniel.
Just I can't think of any twist villains in Pixar's canons that are like my favorite things about the film. Like
It's
Ernesto
really
de la
neat.
Cruz, I don't really have any problems with him. It's just a case of, yeah, I've seen this play out.
It's really the unabashedly evil villains like Syndrome or Hopper who are like the best.
Yeah. I don't know. I really think Ernesto de la
barring Thunderclap.
I think Ernesto de la Cruz's twist villain might really be one of my favorite things about this film. I don't know why it really worked for me in this movie.
You know what villain I really like?
Who?
How do you say his name?
Well, we
Um,
don't know who you're talking.
the guy from Monsters Inc. That's like a crab.
Oh, water
Oh, water
nose.
nose.
What? I love him. The way he walks. I
I'll
used
kidnap 1,000 children.
I used to make my mom fix me hot chocolate so I could sip it like he does.
Nice.
That's adorable.
I loved him.
Nora, getting back to what you were talking about, I think Ernesto does work for this movie in that never meet your heroes type of vibe.
Yeah, I like that.
John
I like that.
Lasseter.
Like, not a bad idea at all. It's just a case of I'm so sick of twist villains.
I really think if it had been an earlier film, it would have even gotten a bigger reaction. I think Coco's underrated also.
Well, I mean, it is still fairly recent. It like came out like just a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah, but
No,
it
I don't.
won
should have
Best
more
Animated.
I don't think Coco's underrated. I think it's appreciated.
It's
Yeah.
appreciated, but it needs more hype.
Fair.
I think it's so good.
I
So do
disagree.
I. It's a top 5 for me.
I think it gets the hype it deserves.
Yeah.
I feel like people don't talk about it as much as they did in 2017 and 2018. But it got a lot of
'cause
hype.
it was
And
newer
I
back
think
then.
it's also important to remember, like, this movie did, like, insane in Mexico. Like,
Yeah, as far as
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
concerned, it is their highest
Like-
grossing movie.
as far as, like, cultural divides go, like, the fact that this is, a Mexican movie, it is so entrenched in Mexico and the culture and the holiday of Dia de los Muertos. Like, it's beloved in Mexico.
It feels authentic.
Oh,
I
and
say as a
Well,
Like-
just in
tasty white
Mexico or
boy.
other Spanish-based
Oh,
countries?
plenty of others too. I remember when like refugees from Honduras were, coming to America in the caravan and they were forced to wait outside the border in camps. Like they set up a projector to play Coco for them.
Aww.
Like that is this movie's impact, and that's amazing.
You know how people really praised like the Frozen 2 clothes animation?
Yeah.
Coco's clothes animation was mwah. It was
Very
really
nice.
good.
Oh
It
yeah.
was very nice.
Let's be real though. Pixar's been a step ahead of everyone in the industry until Spider-Verse came out.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I'm doing your work for you, Jarron.
I
The
will
only-
say, Coco and Spider-Verse are both animated films that won Best Animated Feature in consecutive years. I think both of them should have been nominated for Best Picture in their years.
I could definitely see the argument for Spider-Verse because that year had such a weak Best Picture roster.
Green Book.
But
Wait, what
With
movie?
Coco,
Oh, I want to see Green Book.
Oh.
What do you mean?
I haven't seen it.
Green Book is the movie where a white guy makes a black guy eat fried chicken, and that makes him not racist anymore.
Oh.
Wait, what?
I haven't seen it. It just looked amazing.
Anyway, let's
It
get
was
back
all
to a
about
movie that's
breaking-
actually amazing.
Let's not talk about Best Picture
Like-
because I saw some choice tweets the other day.
Really?
and-
I did not know any of that. I thought people liked it.
Old
That's-
white people liked it.
Oh.
Boomers liked it.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to
But-
watch it now.
well, now I'm
because
no
y'all are
longer,
saying
But-
it.
now I no longer really
Before
want to see
we-
it that much.
Yeah, before we leave the topic of Best Picture, I'm a
Sorry,
little
Parasite deserved
with
Coco.
Coco.
every award it got.
I'm a little more okay with Coco not getting nominated this year because that year was stacked. Like it was unbelievable.
Oh
how
yeah,
good.
2017 was a good year.
Like I feel like any film nominated for Best Picture that year could have taken home the gold, and I would have been fine with it.
What year was that? Like, what movie won Best Picture?
Shape of Water.
What?
Yeah.
Did he really? I don't think I watched that year.
Well, you should. It's good.
Ah.
Back to Coco.
Coco.
Yep. So I'm thinking more about stuff I want to talk about before we get to the big thing. Are you guys aware of the behind the scenes?
No.
Yes.
All right. One yes and one no, and one not answer.
Oh, I
Well,
mumbled no.
okay, two no's. Well, for your benefit then, this movie was originally super different.
As they often are.
As
Yeah.
like culture different or like
No, it was always going to be about Dia de los Muertos. The thing
Oh,
was,
okay.
it was initially a movie about Miguel coming to terms with the death of his mother and learning to move on.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
And
They always kill his mom.
yeah, and then when Leon Critch looked into the purpose and the history of the holiday, he realized it was about honoring and remembering the
Yeah.
dead, and so that's why the movie changed so drastically.
I think they did. I think that was a good decision.
Oh, a very good decision.
I could see how. I think that could be a great movie on its own, but that's a completely different movie.
Yeah, I think since they were doing I can't pronounce it. I'm not even gonna try. The Day of the Dead. It was good that they stuck with remembering dead people instead of moving on.
For sure. All right. Well, I'm starting to exhaust my talking points. Does anybody want to
I was
steer
gonna
this
say-
conversation?
Hey,
Oh.
didn't you say we were gonna talk about the ending?
Well, yes, but I want to see if there's anything else anybody wants to talk about before we get to that.
I do.
Go for
I
it.
was gonna say that I enjoy the connections between the characters like Hector and Miguel, how they wrote that in. And it's not even just a natural automatic bond, but it's not like Hank and Dory, if you know what I mean, where
Oh.
it's nice, but it's a little bit flat and it's just kind of the grumpy guy. There's more dynamic to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more ebb and flow with them.
Yeah,
There were a lot of
they have chemistry.
really subtle character details with Hector. I noticed not even on my second time through, but there's that small scene where Miguel is copying his walk because he thinks that's how skeletons walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
But really it's because Hector has replaced some of his bones with other parts, and that's caused him to develop the funny walk. And
Yeah.
Oh.
and you can tell it's because it's a subtle way of just reinforcing the fact that he's one of the have-nots of this world, that he's had to lose parts of himself and just kind of replace them with other things.
Yeah, I like it. I think they did really good job on character development.
They did.
Like really good.
I also find Ernesto de la Cruz a very fascinating character.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want them to add anything backstory wise of his character, but I wish I knew, just because I imagine he doesn't have any family from context clues.
Yeah.
Himself.
I think the only reason he buys that Miguel is his grandson is because he probably
slept around.
had a lot of
like girl fans and stuff.
a lot of flings.
Oh yeah.
That could have easily fathered some children.
Definitely. But I think he doesn't have the family roots that Hector and Miguel have, and because he's a solo man.
He was solely relying on his star power to keep him remembered. And oh boy, that doesn't work out for him in the end.
Oh no.
Very selfish, very charming as well. They really played into that, charming, deceiving in the beginning. But it seemed like he could have been a great family kind of, well, not father figure, because Coco does have a dad, but grandfather, I guess, great grandfather figure to Miguel.
Great grandfather.
They have the twist villain, but it's not even like he has a total personality shift either. I'm not sure how to describe it, but the way they did his twist villain, I was so happy with.
I loved it.
Because you can see he's a little what's the word?
Narcissistic.
Yes, and he has the star power thing going for him, but you could believe he's capable of loving Miguel and possibly taking care of him and getting him home, even though by then you probably kind of figured it out a little bit.
I feel like Ernesto would have had like no problem like actually like having like an emotional connection to Miguel.
Yeah.
For the fact that his secret was revealed.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he didn't show any signs until Hector showed up and he started panicking because he was like, oh crap.
You can even see him contemplating whether he wants to try and trust Miguel.
Yeah, before he like crumples up.
Or if he's gonna have to do what he did to his best friend, which is stone cold mean. Killed his best friend. So.
And then used that murder as a plot point in a movie.
Yes.
How self-absorbed can you
like
be?
he's the bad guy. Like he's bad.
He's the bad.
Nope.
No.
Duh.
No.
Now
like
you will ever
music
associate
here.
Billie Eilish with Coco. You're welcome.
I love Billie Eilish.
Mm.
You Zoomers.
I'm
Wait.
the bad guy.
Jarron, you're Gen Z too.
No, we're not having this conversation again.
He's Gen Z. He's one of us.
It's the last thing I want to be.
But you are.
One of us.
I mean, honestly,
One of
Jarron, the last thing you want to be is a boomer.
Fair
The
enough.
last thing, honestly, you don't even want to be a millennial. They're
No.
bad too.
The last thing you want to be is a Karen.
The last thing you want to be is forgotten.
Oh no.
I'm already there.
No one deserves to be forgotten. It's from Dear Evan Hansen, by the way.
I think Ernesto.
Oh, I had no idea.
Waiting through a window.
Okay.
But I believe that was all my points. And I know I worded everything very badly. Once again, I'm tired. Bear with me. I'm sorry.
I've come up with two more things I want to talk about before the final thing.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Go ahead.
So I love that Miguel like has a ticket back to the real world. Like he ends up back in the real world after like 5 minutes. But the little shit just cannot keep his promise. It's like just immediately reneges on it, and
Maybe
yeah,
he,
of course
you
he
know,
will.
maybe he thinks that he's already been and they've sent him back, so he can't go back again.
Oh, definitely that's what he thinks. They even show it
Yeah.
in his body language and reaction. He's like, yeah, sure.
Thinks he's in the clear, and so he lets his guard down, and boop,
Boop.
back in the dead world. All right, and that was a positive thing. That was just like a character thing I liked.
Yeah.
My other note, a little bit negative.
Uh-oh.
No.
I feel like Imelda and Hector get back together too soon.
Yeah.
Oh, you made me remember something. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the first time I was watching it, I was under the impression that Hector told her that he was leaving and that, like, to tour for music and he'd be back with it, but he came back early because he was homesick. But then watching it the second time, I listened more to what she was saying. You left me. And it seemed like it wasn't just him not coming back. It sounded like he actually left at first without telling her and then changed his mind. So I didn't know which one it was.
She was aware of the fact that he wanted to play for the world, as she puts it.
Okay.
He intended to leave and become a sensation. He may have intended to come back after he was famous and decided to come back early, but it was clear that Imelda was not privy to this information.
Okay. So she knew he was leaving.
Yeah, like, regardless of how sympathetic he is, Hector is a bit of a bastard.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it depends which storyline it is.
I mean, he clearly regrets it. He clearly has changed his mind. Death has given him perspective. It was still a dick move to leave his family for fame.
Whose computer is echoing?
I don't know, but I keep hearing myself.
Me too.
Talk till I'm done hearing my past self.
It's annoying me. I'm gonna weaponize the mute button again.
Oh wait, I think it's gone.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's gone.
Good. But well, the first time I watched it, I thought it was planned. He was going away to just play a little bit, and that she knew.
No,
and that
not
he
even
was just gonna come back early.
Not even remotely.
That's what I thought the first time I watched it, and so then I just felt, I was like, why aren't you forgiving him? He got killed. He couldn't help it. But then the second time I watched it, I went, oh. Yeah.
Wild.
I swear I really am smart. Not that smart, but like.
Well, sometimes when you watch movies for the first time, you're trying to just see the overall plot. You're not really looking for details.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like put things together till the end, and you're like, oh my god. But when you watch it again,
I mean,
you're like, oh, I can't believe I missed that.
Like, it was kind of explicitly stated in the opening narration, though, which...
No, because I
But-
didn't catch it the first time I watched it either.
No, that's why I was watching it the second time, and it all made more sense.
It's pretty overt. The opening narration is pretty much unambiguous. He left.
Well, yes, but then I thought you realized that, oh, he was coming back.
Yeah, because, okay, I see why she thinks this, because there's a scene where he's singing a lullaby to Coco before he leaves.
Yeah.
So it seems like she knew that he was leaving, and his daughter knew that he was leaving, so that's why he sang the lullaby to her.
And that he's coming back soon.
And
But
it makes it seem like the open narration, it was only her perspective.
Yeah.
It was like oh, he left for music. Like, she knew he left for music.
But she thought he never came back, but really he was just murdered. See, that's what I thought.
Right.
Like, the way it's felt, like, presented to me every time I've watched this film, Hector chose the life of a musician over his family and later regretted that decision and wanted to go back.
See, that's what I felt.
Okay, no. No. This is how I see it. Hector wanted to make money for his family, and he was good at music, so he thought he could take his songs and go with his partner and go make a music career and send money back home.
That is not what Imelda implies.
Yeah, but okay,
she specifically states she was the one who wanted to put down roots and take care of Coco, not Hector.
Exactly.
I see no reason to doubt her.
But if okay, I'm trying to if you're a wife and your husband is into music, I don't even know how to explain this. Okay, if he tells you, okay, if he tells you like, I'm gonna go make money for our family with music, you're gonna think that's so stupid. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Find a stable job. Be home.
Oh, you're saying like she like invalidated his purpose of going to get money.
Yeah, so he probably
I
told
never
her,
thought of it like that. But that's an interesting take.
I'm going to. I think that's why she forgives him, because she knows that she didn't want him to do music, but she knew that that was the only thing that he was good at, and that was the only thing that he could do. And he probably said, hey, I'm going to go get us money. And she was probably just like, no, you're not. You'll be back. But he never came back because he got murdered.
Yeah.
So
I
she's
think
saying
you're
he
reaching.
left me.
I
Saying
don't think
like
that
he went to go do music and he just never came back.
I don't think that part was meant to be left up for interpretation, but I kind of like the idea that it could be left up for interpretation because now I've seen it. Well, first time I watched it, I saw the way I said, and the second time I watched it, I saw the way Daniel said. But I think that way is interesting too, and
That's the way I see it.
that kind of adds, if it is up for interpretation, it kind of adds to the point that they don't exactly know how to act with each other at first because he wants to explain himself, but he can't because he was murdered and.
Right.
I
Well, he doesn't even know he was murdered.
just
Yeah.
I
He thinks
can't
he choked.
see that because neither one of those characters ever explain that as Hector's motivation for leaving.
But you know.
No, you don't.
You do.
You know, it was specifically mentioned at the end of the movie that Hector sent back letters to Coco and stuff. Never mentions that he sent back money.
But they didn't have enough of a music career until Ernesto kills him, takes his song, and then creates a career.
They did say they were getting close, but maybe they were just getting gigs and enough to live off of. I think it's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I don't see any evidence in the text of the film to support that.
Look, I'm gonna watch it when we hang up, and I'm gonna send y'all evidence.
I think it could be either way, like the first way I said or the second way.
I think that just confuses the whole point of the movie. The whole crux of this film is that Miguel can't play music because of his family, and that stems back to Imelda deciding to banish all music from her household, which the opening narration tells us she did the moment her husband left. If he left to make them money.
Yeah, but no, she wasn't mad he left. She was mad he never came back.
No, she
That's
was
how
mad
I
he
thought.
left. The whole idea of he abandoned his family like lingers throughout the entire film. Like all of Hector's
Because
family
he
mentions
never came back. If he would have left
he
and
left
made money
in the first
and
place.
came back, she probably would have been like, "Oh my God, thank you," and
Why
never
does
would have
Imelda
banned music.
not seem to realize that then? Because if that was Hector's intention, he would have told his wife.
I think. Look, no,
She
we're going on
probably
the web.
figured
So he should have.
if his
So you're
part-
saying it's a good thing that he didn't tell his wife he intended to look after their daughter?
We out here, y'all. We going out here.
We out here.
I don't know about that whole theory, but I could see where that he intended to come back and that she just assumed that he left to keep pursuing the music career and left her. I didn't mean to cause this controversy. I was just asking because I was confused which way it was, and I wanted to see what y'all thought.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I felt it was really unambiguous in the film, and the fact that this is an interpretation somebody could get from it confuses me.
I'm sorry.
It's my fault.
Open the right side of your brain. Let the right side of the brain fly. Imagination.
I mean, Olivia, if you can find evidence for this, go right ahead. I've seen this film 3 times, though.
I've seen this film 4 times.
Good for you.
Snap.
But, like, this has been your interpretation for longer than, just your 4th viewing, so I don't know if there's anything you've spotted that I haven't. Feel free to try to convince me later.
I will. I'm gonna find evidence and I'm gonna send it to y'all.
I don't like the hostility. I can't.
Man, the Brave episode got hostile between us, too. This is...
Yeah, but that was joking.
I'm mostly saying this one out.
I was laughing the whole time. This one, I'm scared.
No. Jarron, now that you've called attention to yourself, what do you believe?
Jarron, run.
I haven't thought much of it. And honestly, I don't want to get into it. I'm a conscientious objector.
Daniel
Okay,
has,
no,
like, a
okay,
knife
let's do
out.
this. Okay, Jarron,
Yes.
free of conflict, do you
Jarron.
see my side? And do you see Daniel's side?
I see
Jarron.
both of your sides.
There
Yes,
you go.
Jarron, join me
There you
in
go.
the
We're
ambiguous
ready for enlightenment
abyss.
centrism.
Join me, Jarron. We'll hide. I think you're all correct.
Not possible?
It's possible.
Anything's possible.
Oh, I was singing. Never mind. Just never mind.
It's
Well-
possible. I did not mean to cause this controversy. I'm terribly sorry.
You're fine, Nora.
Nora, you've opened up a healthy discussion.
Sure.
Daniel is angry.
I'm not. I'm
Not
just
really.
expressing the views.
I'm still just kind of baffled because
We vibing.
like on top of that, I feel like and no offense to your interpretation, Olivia, I feel like that's just a less interesting movie if it is the way you think it is.
I think it's very interesting.
I mean, I think Hector making a bad decision makes him a far more tragic character.
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. Like, it builds him making a bad decision makes him less of a good guy character.
Yeah, here's the thing.
But
never
why
really
would
a
she
good
why
guy.
would she forgive him so easily?
That's my problem with the movie.
That's why
hesitate.
my point makes so much sense, because she
I-
could be telling herself like, "Oh, he never came back. He left us here. He was never planning to come back."
Here's the thing about that. That makes all of Hector's suffering from all his years being dead and forgotten meaningless.
No, I don't think so.
If he made that awful decision to leave his family in pursuit of fame, then having his complete worldview, turned around after realizing what that has done to him and what that did to his family through his death, that makes who he is now a meaningful thing.
But he never really has that moment.
That's
where
because
he
it happens.
realizes what he's done to his family. I mean, I didn't see a moment like that.
That's because it would have happened, in the decades where he's just kind of suffering in the slums of the afterlife.
Yeah.
Okay. I have looked on lots of Coco sites.
Just now?
And yes. And it says that Imelda was heartbroken when he never returned.
Oh.
So he
My
had
first
to have
feeling.
mentioned that he was going to make money or do something, because it said she wasn't angry or heartbroken until he never came back.
I like that
Here's the
storyline
thing.
so much better. That's what I was thinking it was the first time.
So she could think like, oh, he's gonna go do something, he's gonna bring us home some money,
I mean,
but when he
you're
never comes
basing this off
back.
sites, not anything in the film.
Oh my god.
No, but for my first time I watched it, that's what I got. And especially based off when she does forgive him, because if she didn't forgive him by the end of the film, especially that first time I watched it, I would not have liked it, because I was like, he died. He was coming back from the trip that you knew was going on, and he died. It's not his fault he died.
Okay, with that theory, in Imelda's head, she's thinking, oh, he left. He never came back, so that means he was planning on never coming back. So it was easier in her head to be like, oh, so he really just wanted to leave the family. So it was easier for her to hate him.
She
and
is
to
a
hate
very
music.
strong-willed person too, so she probably believed that she was
I
being
mean, I
left
feel like
alone.
it would be easy for Imelda to hate him in either scenario.
Exactly, but the way she was probably thinking in my theory was like that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, with the ending, like, all the forgiveness is on her, like, and she starts off so angry when she first sees him again. But then, like, the second she sees Ernesto de la Cruz, she's like, you murdered the love of my life. And it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like, I think,
Well,
wait,
he
did
was
somebody
the love
mute
of her
Olivia?
life. She didn't love anyone after that.
Wait, hang on.
I muted myself for a
Okay.
second.
I was worried somebody got mad and just, like, muted you or something, and I was worried
I
that
would
was
have blamed
next.
you, Daniel. Daniel, I would have blamed you.
No.
I would have blamed Daniel.
Why did
I
you
would have been
mute
like, you can deny
yourself?
it.
I'm watching an evidence video. And I didn't want y'all to hear it blasting in the background.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I muted it.
You should wait until the podcast ends.
I can't. Okay, y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I'm reading research now.
What have I done?
We're gonna figure this out. I saw the article Olivia said she saw. Oh my gosh, there's too much background info. I just want. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Wait. I'm almost there. Just talk about Spider-Verse or something.
Jarron, do you want to talk about the ending now? I feel like
I would love to.
I'm sorry that you have just kind of been.
No, it's okay. I'm still sick and I'm very tired, but all right.
All right, so this ending is, I think it's probably the most unique thing Pixar has ever done.
It really is.
Like, this whole film is kind of constructed around this ending. And I mean, it works for sure, but the way it goes about setting up every plot mechanic, every rule of this afterlife, from the final death to Miguel turning into a skeleton, et cetera, and all that kind of collides with the, music ban, Coco's dementia, the specific, last song she heard from her father. Like, all of it collides into one singular moment, Miguel singing "Remember Me" to her.
Oh, but they do it so well.
Oh my gosh.
It's so much in that one moment. Oh, I also gave up. But I did find something interesting in the film, but I'll go to that after we finish this topic.
Yeah, it's just...
They do it so well. It's so much to pack in that moment, and it's really easy to make it overly dramatic or not hit right. But his family watching him connect with his great-grandmother and seeing that music has the power to do that to someone.
Yeah, it is. It's the linchpin of the film. It's the reason it's called Coco.
Yes, which I forgot somehow. I don't know how I forgot that, but I did.
Yeah, this moment is kind of the reason I want another Lee Unkrich Pixar film, even though he's done, like, any filmmaker who can pull something like, hi Olivia, any filmmaker who can pull something like that off so spectacularly, that
scene is,
like, he's too talented to leave.
It brings the family all in that moment, and it's a tribute to Hector at the same time.
Well, it's also Because like the last time Coco sang that song was with her dad, and now the person who is like, carrying on Hector's legacy is singing it with her. Like it's the closest approximation she can get to singing with her father again.
Yeah, and that's truly beautiful.
Truly.
Yeah, so that's why this movie is phenomenal AF. It is a mountain, and the films that surround it are molehills.
Dang.
Okay, guys.
Daniel has spoken.
Very beginning of Coco, when they're talking about Mama Imelda, Mama Coco, and they show the people silhouettes within like the Day of the Dead flyers and stuff.
By the way, amazing animation touch there.
Oh,
yes.
I did want.
Phenomenal.
That's another thing I need to talk about too.
Anyway, on to my theory.
Sorry.
When Miguel's talking about it, he said one day he left with his guitar. He kisses Imelda bye, he kisses Coco bye, and he walks out the door. And then he said, and he never came back. So this implies that Imelda and Coco did in fact know that he was leaving to go pursue music.
I like that storyline so much better though, because like it just makes me like Hector, at least.
Here's the thing. I have the script pulled up. The exact words are, he and his family would sing and dance and count their blessings, but he also had a dream to play for the world. And one day he left with his guitar and never returned.
But if you watch the animation, it shows that he picks up his guitar, Imelda watches him, she kisses her, he kisses Coco, and then he walks out the door.
Yeah, he kisses her, she doesn't kiss him.
Yes, she does.
Look, Olivia, it says he had a dream to play for the world. That's not, oh, I'm going to go out and make money for you guys. This is, I want fame. Because this is the call to fame that the movie is saying is not what you should be prioritizing. That's why Miguel is, wrong for so much of the film. That's why Ernesto de la Cruz is wrong. And this
I'm saying that Imelda knew that he was leaving with his guitar to go play music.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he never returned that has her mad.
And she blames that never returning on music.
Right.
Yes.
She thinks
Olivia,
that...
I never disputed that Imelda knew what he was going to do.
You did.
She blames music.
Yeah, that was the whole
Olivia.
argument.
That was your whole point.
Your point was that he was going to make money for them.
No, my point is that Imelda knew that he was leaving, and the
Olivia,
fact that she was mad
I'm
is
making
because...
myself the mediator. This is what happened. I said what I had viewed the first time was that Imelda knew he was leaving, but he got murdered, so then she assumed that his being murdered meant he was never coming back and that he left to explore music. The second time I viewed it was Daniel's original opinion that she didn't know he was leaving in the first place and he just left, and so the murder doesn't really validate him leaving because she didn't know he was leaving to go do music.
Guys, you have fundamentally misunderstood what I was saying.
And then, wait, so you were saying what I was saying?
Okay, guys. Here's my reading of the film. I'll just lay it out so we don't have any more confusion. Hector wanted fame. He wanted to play for the world.
Yes.
He left because of that. Imelda knew he left because of his music. That's why she blames music.
Oh, no. But, he, had her permission to leave.
That's what we're saying.
No.
See, that's what we're saying. Or that's what I said the first time, and then I got confused.
That is what I dispute.
Yeah, we're saying that, we're saying that she gave him approval to go play music.
I don't know if that's how it is. I just like that version better.
So later in the film, Imelda is having that moment with Miguel. She says, I wanted to put down roots. I wanted to take care of our daughter. He wanted to play for the world. That kind of implies that their interests, their goals in life had diverged from each other.
Right, but what I'm
She didn't
thinking
want him to leave.
is the reason.
I think she was still expecting him to come back.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I
I
think
might be wrong. Like
he
I have
promised
no
to
idea.
come back after he got famous, and that's why she gave him approval to leave. But he never came
But
back.
she didn't give him approval.
She did.
See, that's what we don't know.
That's the interpretation that we're siding with.
I don't know what
Okay,
I'm
so
siding with.
at least we are now.
It
at least
looks
we now
like
know what each other's.
it looks like she gave him approval at the beginning of the film.
Why would she give him approval to leave?
Because if he made it big in the music in the music industry, then he could support his family.
My children.
I think that's the only reason that she would have approved of it.
Except the fact that he leaves, she has to immediately find work because he can't support, because he's not supporting them.
My chickadees. Let's agree that maybe the Daniel and Olivia views are just not going to marry happily tonight.
No, they definitely aren't.
And that, it's just not meant to be, and that's okay.
That's all right.
That's all right. Now let's talk about the animation. Okay.
Beautiful. Very smooth.
This is my only point I forgot to say earlier. The Land of the Dead, its contrast to the Land of the Living is very nice. I like how they make the translucent animation going into the Land of the Dead before it becomes how it looks in the Land of the Living, but that's a very nice contrast. I also love the orange memory leaves. I'm not sure what they're called. The leaves.
Oh, I love those.
I don't know why, but those are very nice specifically.
They're very satisfying in the form of the bridge, too.
Aren't they? I think it's beautiful. It's like and Day of the Dead is typically celebrated. There's certain customs and traditions you do to remember your loved ones, and one of the things is flowers. You see flowers or wreaths quite often, so the fact that the bridge is made out of flower petals is a very nice tribute to that as well. Oh, and the thing I saw online is that Hector's gold tooth is the same as the head of the guitar that he plays that's used for Ernesto de la Cruz's. I didn't notice that. That's
That's one more subtle detail.
Yeah.
To hint at, the big reveal.
Yeah. That's very clever, Pixar. That was all my points. I tried to make it fast because we've been talking for a while.
All right, well. Jarron, the three of us have kind of dominated the back end of this conversation. Did you have anything you want to add?
I really like this movie.
I really liked the color palette.
Oh, yeah. Especially in the Land of the Dead.
Visually very stunning.
This movie goes for a lot more like realistic stuff in the real world. And that really does highly contrast with the Dead world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I also like all the technology they use in the Land of the Dead is quote unquote dead technology.
Yeah, analog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they use like a typewriter, don't they?
And typewriters and
Yeah.
that lift to get to De La Cruz is an old world type of thing.
That's so smart. I never noticed that.
Yeah,
Wow.
a lot of attention was paid to stuff like that, and that's Pixar for you.
Yeah, they did a really good job on this movie.
Are there any like little cameos to other movies in the movie? I know they always do little Easter eggs. I just didn't know if y'all spotted it.
Oh, early in the film, when Miguel is running through town, you can see Buzz and Woody toys being sold at a shop.
Really?
I didn't notice that.
That's
cute. Pinatas.
That's cute.
I actually saw that my first time through in the theater, and I was so proud of myself because I caught one of their things.
The Easter eggs.
Daniel. Wow.
Wow.
Ciao.
Ka-chur.
Wait, was that final thoughts? Should I say a final thought?
Why don't we just go ahead and do final thoughts? We can all go around and give our final thoughts.
Okay, Nora, you go first.
Oh, I don't know how to feel. I feel scared after this podcast. But I love Coco, and I wasn't expecting it to be this high on my list because I forget how much I love it. But then I'll think about it. I'm like, wow, it's so good. So yeah.
You'll remember it.
I remember it.
Okay, Coco, I give it a 9 out of 10. Super good. Love the color palette. Love the animation. Really liked it. And if you haven't seen it, you should really go watch it. And you won't regret it. Okay, that's mine.
A truly unforgettable time.
Poor Jarron.
Jarron just had to sit through like 30 minutes.
On top of being sick. We're over here like arguing about the text of the film and how the plot truly unfolds, and Sharon's just like,
I want y'all to understand how I had this envision. I was like trying to mediate between y'all two. Daniel and Olivia were going at it. Then Daniel like turns to Jarron. In my mind, I swear Daniel had a knife and said, "Jarron, what do you think?"
The knives were out.
Jarron went,
Okay, no,
Mr.
I think we had a very healthy discussion.
Yes. Other than the knife
I don't know if I could quite call it healthy. I do feel like it was an argument.
Yeah, it was scary.
We didn't argue. I think
I was scared.
it was a discussion.
A heated discussion.
A heated discussion.
So an argument. Oh my gosh, this is turning into that Monty Python sketch about the argument clinic now.
You know, I thought it was a discussion because usually when I argue, my head gets fuzzy.
She admitted it. She admitted she argued.
I didn't argue. I was very calm. All right, Daniel, what are your final thoughts?
All right, final thoughts. This is definitely one of Pixar's best of this decade for sure.
Yeah,
this decade
sure.
being the 2010s decade when Coco came out, not the 2020s that we are now in. Oh man, there's going to be a brief period of time where Onward is just the default best Pixar movie.
That's
of the
what
decade.
I was just thinking. Wow.
My soul is better.
Yeah, I mean, if Soul is better, then Onward loses the title. But if Soul is somehow a disaster, then Onward will keep the title.
Soul doesn't look as good as Onward.
No. Other way around.
We've had this discussion like 3 times now.
I know. I almost made a joke in the beginning, though, when we were saying how good the skeleton body animation was. I almost said, well, nothing beats the half of the body they leave out in Onward animation.
Damn. You know, a lot of people have been like saying like Soul looks just like, you know, Inside Out Part 2.
It does.
It kind of does.
It's kind of more the reverse Coco.
Okay, you know what? I see it.
Because
it's like Coco and Inside Out had a baby.
Yeah. It is.
we have cracked the code of Soul.
We've cracked it.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
All right, I think that's a good note to end the podcast.
I have to sing us out. I have to sing us out. It's my thing now.
Play it, Nora.
Remember us, even though we had a fight. Remember us. There is pride in the background, but he didn't sing a song, and Olivia didn't mute him. Coco was good. Please like and subscribing, comment. I'm talking to you, our 9 subscribers. We need more. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And goodbye.